A few weeks ago, I fulfilled one of my life goals, buying a Tesla, at age 23. The car I purchased was the Midnight Silver Metallic all-wheel drive Model Y with a white interior and the included Gemini wheels with a retail price of $51,990. Buying a Tesla at this age was not the plan. In fact, I actually thought I was going to be into my late 20s before I could even try to buy a Tesla with some amount of financial responsibility. A little bit over a year and a half ago, I graduated college and began saving. At that time, I also created a plan, and if I met all of the goals of my plan, it would end with me purchasing a Tesla. My plan's guidelines were 1. Prioritize retirement savings, 2. Buy the car in cash, 3. Only buy if I have enough money left over to have a modest down payment on a home, and 4. Generate the cash using regular investing. I wanted to make sure that I was setting myself up for success, not toward buying the car, but in general, toward the rest of my life. As much as I love Tesla's cars, it should not be my priority. I made sure that I was investing properly in my retirement and not foregoing my safety net savings. I used automatic deductions to invest 6% of my pre-tax income into a 401k where my employer matches 50% up to 6%, which is a total of 9% after vesting. And then an additional 5% went into a Roth 401k, which is post-tax income that I won't take out until retirement as well. This leaves me with 11% of my salary directly toward retirement investments and 14% if you include the match. Some of that is already vested as well. So if I'm going to be spending $50,000 on a car, which is still an insane amount of money to me, that I probably could have just otherwise put into my retirement savings, I should probably make sure that I'm at least doing pretty well when it comes to retirement savings in the first place. About buying in cash, I just didn't want to put unnecessary debt upon myself, and that required me saving $50,000 in cash. This was actually a goal that was fortunate to have in that it helped me structure the rest of my plan. Once again, due to my age, I needed to do this relatively smartly. At 23 years old, I should not be dumping the entirety of my net worth into a car. To ensure that I didn't, I set a reasonable price target for what a down payment on a reasonable home 1 to 3 years after buying the car, and would not make a car purchase unless I also had made decent progress toward that goal. Lastly, my means of funds generation was going to be regular investing, which is, well, how I ended up using Tesla stock to buy a Tesla. As a recent college grad with about $10K in savings from summer internships, part-time jobs, and YouTube revenue, it was a long-shot goal of mine to buy a Tesla in the next 5 years, let alone 1.5 years. But here's how it happened. I knew that at my salary and savings rate, it would take me about 5 years minimum to both have enough money to buy the Tesla and also have enough money to have that small down payment. Because of this, I knew that I would have to regularly invest in growth stocks, and I figured that Tesla stock would make the most sense. I remember analysts and even people I ran into telling me that Tesla was about to go broke and that I was going to lose all of my money. But I had a sense that I understood the fundamental root of Tesla's value better than these Wall Street analysts. I love technology. I've been following it and covering it for over a decade now, and I knew that Tesla's lead was enormous.
Hello, YouTube. Okay, I got my iPod in the mail. It's pretty cool, I guess.
Of course, there was a large risk given Model 3's early production issues, but it was a calculated risk. With that plan laid out, here's how it actually happened. Plus, I'll get into more details about my Tesla investing strategy, my stock portfolio in general, and more. If you're wondering why I, admittedly not really a car guy, was so interested in buying a Tesla, about 8 years ago, I sat in a Tesla Model S for the first time in like a shopping mall. And from that moment, I knew that my next car was going to be a Tesla. There was something so captivating about not only the tech and the aesthetics of the car, but the clear vision that Tesla has in regards to what a car should be. Electric, fast, ever-evolving, autonomous, and fun. A few years later, I test drove a Model S. A few more years later, I drove an X, a 3, and then recently a Y as I showed on this channel. I had initially intended on getting the Tesla Model 3, but as more people started receiving the Y, and after watching reviews of the car, understanding the additional utility that I might be able to get from having the hatchback and extra room, I decided that the Y would be a better car for me, as I have been making a lot of use with the trunk space when I do drive a car. I also thought how I would like to be driving a Tesla as my main car for the indefinite future, which puts into account things like moving, having a family, and more. To be able to invest as aggressively as possible, I live with housemates. I don't go out to eat very much. I generally live frugally, only putting my money toward things that really generate value in my life. Through this, I was able to invest around 40% of my take-home income, which is already after retirement savings and an ESPP. An ESPP is an employee stock purchase program, which allows us to purchase stock at 6-month intervals at a 15% discount. I use the maximum allowed contribution of 10%, which effectively gives me a 1.5% raise guaranteed, with room to grow if the company stock does well. Once I'm able to make the purchase of this stock, I sell it immediately and I use those funds to invest as well. This helped me keep on track with automatic deductions, increased my available income, income and helped me keep my cost of living low, as it also lowered my take-home income. If you're following along with the math, 11% of my income went directly to retirement, 10% went to the ESPP, and then after taxes and other benefits, I'm left with about 50% of my net income as take-home. So as I mentioned before, I invested about 40% of my take-home income, as about 35% went to rent, which has recently increased, and then the other 25% went to food, other expenses, and then sometimes fun stuff. Only after I ensured a 6-month safety net, I began investing in stocks. While I invest in a lot of different companies, Tesla was my primary focus and ended up growing to be over 57% of my portfolio. I first bought in during June of 2019, and I bought about 2 shares at $214.88 a piece. If you convert that to the price post-split, that's about $42.98 per share. I ended up defining a monthly purchasing schedule where I would purchase 1 to 3 shares per month and then maybe a few more during the months that I could actually afford to invest a little bit more. Not too long ago, here was the listed value of my Tesla shares. I ended up getting a total return of about 250% on my investments throughout the year and a half. With a principal of approximately $17,472, I ended up with 144 shares post-split at a market value of $61,680. Now, while this number is over the sticker price of the car that I ended up purchasing, the Midnight Silver Metallic all-wheel drive with a white interior, that had a price of $51,990, there is a little bit more nuance in my ability to purchase the car. As I said, I purchase stock monthly, which means that some of my shares are long-term capital gains, but many of them are not. In fact, most of them are not. So after paying short-term capital gains on the profits from shares that I did purchase more recently, but long-term capital gains on profits from shares that are over a year old, I'm actually left with $51,970.67, which is just under the purchase price of the car. But that's not all. I actually happen to be purchasing the Model Y in New Jersey. New Jersey recently rolled out an electric vehicle program that lowers the purchase price of the vehicle and provides a rebate. When purchasing an electric vehicle in New Jersey, you pay 0 sales tax. That's right, none. On a vehicle that costs $52,000 at a 7% tax rate, that's $3,640 in savings right off the bat. On top of that, for vehicles that meet certain range criteria and also have a purchase price below $55,000, there is a $5,000 cash rebate. This means that I'm actually paying less for the car than I would have in a different state by about $8,640. This brings the total out-of-pocket purchase price to $46,990 plus additional fees, which my Tesla stock more than covers. With all of these incentives and my Tesla portfolio being valued at where it was, I found that I could make a somewhat responsible decision and buy the car. Additionally, I'm not selling off all of my Tesla stock. As a long-term believer in the company, I want to hold off selling everything I own, which means that I'm able to keep my investments in Tesla by selling stocks from other companies that I'm invested in. Many of these also have significant portions that are considered long-term capital gains, which allows me to pay less in taxes as well. And moving forward, I'm not changing my strategy of making monthly recurring investments in companies that I believe in long-term, like Tesla. After all, I've got a house to buy. Eventually. And that's how I did it. That's how I bought a Tesla Model Y using Tesla stock at 23 years old. And it's been a serious journey. Like, buying a Tesla, and I know I've said this so many times at this point, but has been a serious goal of mine, like a life goal of mine, and to accomplish this at this age is like mind-boggling to me. I'm also not sure what my subscribers would have thought my age was. I don't really talk about my age that much, although I was in college for a portion of this channel being up, so we'll see. Actually, let me know how old you would have guessed I was, because people actually give me a very wide range. If anyone out there has a special experience or just journey to their Tesla purchase, let me know in the comments down below. I'm really excited to read them. This has been such a big part of my life, and I'm really excited to keep making videos about the Teslas. I've got accessories videos, trip videos planned. I'm super obsessed with the car, and I just can't wait to make more content about it. So if you're still here, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.